The following is an interview with Johnny Ilca, the creator of the Co-living Community Manager online course. In 2018, Johnny came across co-living while he was in Bucharest, Romania. He was inspired to start his very own co-living space and create an MVP of a co-living space called Transylvanian Co-living in Cluj-Napoca, Romania. Johnny aims to help revolutionize the way humans spend their time through co-living. His Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign closes on June 3rd and will fund the development of a course for co-living community managers. Support him today by backing his campaign and following him on social media. With that said, let's dive into the Fish Tank. Fish Tank puts the fun in fundraising. Get funded with just a 90-second pitch video to friends and family so you can spend less time fundraising and more time building epic products and selling to customers. So Johnny, walk me through how an English teacher in Romania got involved building co-living community management course.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't my first course, but I decided to specialize in education long ago. I wanted to really get an area of expertise with this industry, but specifically with co-living, I kind of came across this concept by chance. When I left the US, I wanted to live in a walkable city, so I ended up in Bucharest, Romania. Well, I'm also Romanian, so that's why I chose Romania. But I ended up in Bucharest, and I came across this big house, and it wasn't officially called a co-living space, but it was kind of operated as one, because co-living as a concept is something that humans have been doing for a long time. But this term, co-living, is fairly new, and technology has really pushed it forward. So I came across this unofficial co-living space in Bucharest, and it inspired me to make my very own co-living space in Transylvania, in Cluj-Napoca, Romania. And I called this business Transylvanian Co-living. And it was pretty successful, but after doing that for about 2 years, 2.5, I got tired of living there. During this time, I was managing this co-living space, and it was taking up most of my time. So I started teaching English on the side to just make a little bit more money, just as a side hustle. And I focused mainly on the co-living business. And since I got tired of living there, I wanted to find someone else to help me manage the place. I wanted to find a community manager. So I started looking for one, and after I went through a good number of people, and some bad experiences, I eventually ended up not finding anyone that was qualified. So I closed down the business. But, this all kind of coincided with a lot of events like COVID, for example. And it really impacted the profit that I made with the business, because my biggest profits came from some of the biggest events in the city, which were canceled. So I didn't really make that money. Anyway, long story short, I gave up that business, and I started living in different co-living spaces to get more exposure and to get to get more research on co-living and this industry. And after doing that for a while, I was recommended by the owner of a co-working space to make a course on co-living, because I made a few courses online, and this would be my third one. And since I have experience in co-living, I have experience in community management, the fit was like perfect, And not too long ago, there was a co-living unconference and then a co-living conference in Bansko, Bulgaria, where I was for January 2022 to about March 2022. And it was really nice, because up until then, co-living was kind of like, I felt like I was alone and I was preaching some sort of religion or something.
Yes. Yeah.
But I came across all these other co-living enthusiasts, and it just gave me a lot of energy and a lot of motivation to really push this project forward. So I made a Kickstarter to put a lot more urgency into the project and to give myself like a hard deadline. So
Mhm.
ever since I had the Kickstarter published about 20 days ago,
Mhm.
I've been just full steam ahead, creating content, getting in touch with people, building connections, and all that sort of stuff. And this
Mhm.
Kickstarter is set to expire in about 8 days.
Mhm.
So I'm near the end of this sprint, so to say,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
I'm
closing
trying
out.
to get as much support as possible.
Hmm. Awesome. So let's unpack it. For those who don't know, how would you describe co-living?
Yeah, so co-living is essentially shared accommodation that's
Mhm.
focused on giving people quality shared experiences with other people. In today's
Mhm.
society, it's hard to find that because
Mhm.
you have to go to a different place and that sort of stuff. But having that kind of convenience where you live is really a huge time saver, and that's the biggest reason I do it. So essentially, co-living offers you like shared spaces, um, and it gives you certain services like cleaning services or event management. But most importantly, a co-living space should offer a community
Mhm.
because that's the most important thing. And especially after COVID, people are realizing that community is hard to find,
Mhm.
and finding the good quality communities is
Mhm.
also hard to find. Ultimately, co-living is about, for me, it's about exposing myself to better quality people.
Mhm. Yeah. So how does so people kind of like self-select into like a co-living space? So there's like a culture or like a group dynamic that comes with sharing a space. So it's more than just like just having a regular roommate.
Yeah, definitely. Much more than that. I mean, because when you have a few roommates, let's say you share an apartment, you have to distribute the responsibilities and manage them within you and your roommates. And
Mhm.
sometimes, people slack off, they don't do their job well.
Mhm.
And then if that happens, there can be like, you know, a bad experience. Let's put it that
Mhm.
way. um, so it kind of helps solve these kind of issues, and it just makes the whole experience a lot less stressful
Mhm.
because all you have to do as a resident is pay a flat monthly fee. You
Mhm.
move in, and then you have access to events, a community, shared
Mhm.
spaces, and all that sort of stuff. And usually, the people who do that kind of stuff are people with lots of experience, rather than
Right.
just your roommates trying to organize drinks in town or board game night or something like that.
Mhm. So, what do you believe is contributing to the rise of this movement? Like, what is driving the demand?
Well, COVID definitely really made it much more. It really created a huge boom
Mhm.
because so many people after COVID hit were working from home, and they realized when they started doing that they're isolated.
Mhm.
Their community essentially was correlated. It was tied to their job. They would go to
Mm.
the office, and their colleagues were their community. That
Mhm.
they got that sense of community from their workplace,
Yes.
and that's a trap because it makes it
Mm.
difficult to leave your job because we as humans, we need certain needs met, one
Mhm.
of them being community, the sense of belonging.
Mhm.
And having that tied to your job, I don't think it's a very good decision or a very good route to take, because
Mhm.
if you want to leave the job and earn more money, or you just want to change your life,
Mhm.
um, you also give up on your community. But
Mhm.
to be honest, the thing about co-living that's great is like it lowers the startup cost of entering into a new community, and it also increases the chances that you're going to be part of a community that you really vibe with, with a purpose that's more meaningful than just working at a company and making money.
Mhm. I love it, dude. So you're presenting it as an alternative to finding a tribe as opposed to like going and getting a job, which is relatively unstable. People get like laid off, fired, quit, leave, go to other companies. So if your social network is your job, that's kind of like an unstable situation, and it can have adverse effects on mental health.
Definitely. I mean, ultimately, we as humans, it's okay to change your community every once in a while, because doing that will help you grow as a person.
Hmm.
But traditionally, the process of getting a job meant looking at places in the city that you live in, or looking at jobs in another city and moving there, you know?
Hmm.
And so you kind of uproot yourself from the community that you've
Yes.
created in that city. And when you get a new job, even if it's in the same city, you're spending all of your time, your waking hours, essentially, around that group of people. And it's
Hmm.
natural for you to develop bonds and a sense
Hmm.
of community with them.
Hmm.
But in my experience, like when I was working at the office all day, full time, I didn't have that connection. I didn't feel like a good bond with them. They
Hmm.
were just colleagues. And since I worked full time, like many people do, after work, I didn't have a lot of time to develop really good and meaningful relationships with other people. Because
Yes.
after work, you gotta do your laundry, you gotta go grocery shopping, you
Yes.
gotta hit the gym.
Hmm. So like if your social network is your colleagues, especially in the age of remote work, you're not really getting that deep human connection, that's stable and long lasting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the long lasting thing is some people want it to
It
be long
depends.
lasting, some
Yeah.
people don't want it. Because something that's really important to take into consideration is the length of stay that someone
Hmm.
stays in a place. Because if you stay in a place for 1 month and you know you're only going to stay there for 1 month, you're going to have a certain mentality around
Hmm.
the people, the way you communicate, because you know you're leaving in a month.
Hmm.
If you upset someone or you say that they're ugly, it's okay, you're leaving, you know?
Yeah, you can
But
experiment more and take
yeah, so
different
it
risks.
changes the way you communicate. You
Hmm.
learn to communicate more directly, because
Hmm.
traditionally people didn't move around a lot, and if they
Hmm.
did something that was uncomfortable to their community, that's a big risk, because
Hmm.
they might upset the community and they might be shunned in a way.
Yes. Yeah. And okay, so like if got it. So there's a lot of things contributing to this movement. There's COVID, the rise of remote work,
Yeah.
just a demand for it,
Yeah,
from the
and
younger
it's
generation.
it's a social thing too, because socially we've been pushed more and more to have our own house, to have our own apartment, to have our own
Hmm.
stuff, car.
Hmm.
And the bad thing about that is that usually if you want to be able to afford your own house, you have to make a lot of money, so that means trading a lot of time for money, working a
Hmm.
lot, and not having a lot of time to spend around people. But
Hmm.
also buying a house farther away from the city, because location is super important when it comes to real estate.
Hmm.
So buying a house in a good location is just not affordable for most people. And
Hmm.
the thing about co-living that makes it great is that usually these are located in good locations, which means also living in a place where you have access to certain amenities. Have you heard of the 15-minute city before?
No.
I love the concept. Essentially, it means having
No.
access to everything that you need within a 15-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment, food, your workplace,
Hmm.
everything within a 15-minute walk,
Hmm.
which most people in America can't really say that they have.
Yeah, they sit in traffic for an hour, get angry, come home tired and
Yeah.
angry
And
and hungry.
the road, like in today's
Yeah.
society, the road is like the most dangerous place you can be. It's like more
Hmm.
dangerous than COVID, I would
Yeah.
argue.
Yeah. Statistically, yeah. So, um, okay, so there's a lot of this is definitely a big social change that I believe is here to stay. I think you've convinced me of that. Um, you said this is a religion. Or in what ways?
Well, it the thing about religion is that it's like a starter pack for life. It
Yeah.
gives you a lot of things that humans need. Accountability, because you go there once a week. It
Hmm.
gives you community. It gives you some, like, higher purpose in a way.
Hmm.
Co-living offers some of those ingredients, let's say, like
Hmm.
community and maybe consistency. Um, and like especially before meeting a bunch of other co-living enthusiasts, I felt like I was preaching some sort of religion.
The gospel of co-living.
Seriously.
Good
But
news. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's a way of life. It really is. It's a lifestyle, and
Mhm.
it's a new lifestyle that that gives people more freedom in a way. It gives people more flexibility, location independence, and
Mhm.
ultimately, you're exposing yourself to a certain type of people. You're
Mhm.
not exposing yourself to these kind of people. You're exposing yourself to these kind of people.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna like try to say that one is good and one is bad. It's up to you which one you want. But co-living, it like filters out people in a way, just like how religion does.
Mhm.
And the filters that it's applying to the people in your life, I think, are the right filters, because people who are interested in this religion of co-living
Mhm.
are usually people that like sharing experiences and
Mhm.
sharing their living spaces and just being social creatures. They're not
Mhm.
isolated in their, in their basement programming
Mhm.
all day or working on their online business. They're interacting with other humans, because
Mhm.
ultimately we as humans, that's important for us. We are social
Mhm.
creatures.
Right. So it creates a shared culture, and it allows people to tap into like deeper human connections, even if they're like going deep into whatever they're doing, whether it's art or
Yeah.
business or technology. These things can kind of consume us and kind of draw us away from other people, if we let them. So this is a different avenue to pursue your passion in
Yeah,
community.
exactly. It gives you more opportunities to connect with people and build like deeper, meaningful relationships. Because for example, I stayed in a co-living space, and my private area was my bedroom. That was
Hmm.
it. But as soon as I walked out of the bedroom, I was in the living room, which is a
Hmm.
shared space. And boom, I could talk to people. And then, the next room was the kitchen. Boom, I could talk to more people. And
Hmm.
you don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to go anywhere. You're in the place where you live, and you can
Hmm.
interact, and you can build a connection with someone as you make your morning coffee or something like that.
I like it, man. If this was like a business, I'd call it like curated roommates as a service. That's what it
Mm.
is. I mean, it's like rent a roommate.
Curated living.
Yeah, curated living. It's cool, man. So, what is the status quo right now? Like, you've preached the gospel of co-living. What's the dark side, man? Like, if you don't make this course, what would be the ugly side of co-living that people could encounter?
Well, the ugly side is going to a co-living space that doesn't deliver on its promises. So the status quo right now, it's hard to determine if the co-living space that you're gonna go to actually has a good community. I mean, their social media presence is a very strong indication of that,
Hmm.
but there lacks like the industry as a whole lacks standardization, training, and qualifications for that
Yes.
specific part, the community management part,
Hmm.
which community is the number one thing that people are looking for. Because when you go to a new city, it takes time to meet people and to make friends. But if you go to a co-living space, chances are you're gonna meet people that are kind of like-minded, and you can make friends and you get that sense of belonging. Right
Hmm.
now, though, you go to these websites like coliving.com or uh, Airbnb, and you're not really sure if you're gonna get a community as
Hmm.
a full package, because
Hmm.
even on coliving.com, some of the listings are not really co-living spaces.
Hmm. So there's no standardization. There's no assurance of like what you're going to get as quality and what you expected.
Yeah,
So
because
trust is kind
co-living,
of hit and miss.
exactly, the trust factor.
Yeah.
Because co-living is so different to so many people, like in my opinion, co-living is A plus B plus Y, but for other people it might be C plus X plus whatever.
Hmm.
And, it doesn't really help you find a quality co-living space.
Hmm.
And it's just risky right now. I mean, if you're
Hmm.
moving to a new city, you want to know what you're getting into, and
Hmm.
having more trust in the system is super useful. That's why I like platforms like Airbnb with the review system and stuff like that.
The double review system where the host can rate a guest and they guests can rate a host.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
provides a little bit of transparency and trust.
Exactly. So my course would be providing a little bit more trust because a community manager would be qualified, and a
Mhm.
co-living space can put that on their listing. We have qualified community managers from this
Mhm.
course, you know?
Yes.
So me as a resident would be like, cool, they're qualified. They must be
Yeah.
legit. It's a
Mhm.
sign that they invested in their community.
Mhm.
They're putting resources into that because many co-living spaces don't value community,
Mhm.
and in my opinion then it's not really a co-living space, and if they're not putting resources into it, you know, they're not really allowing a community to grow and to flourish.
Mhm. I like it, man. This is cool. It'd be cool to see like a travel vlog of people jumping around co-living spaces and like just trying stuff. Like I became a coder through a co-living space, and like this is my journey or something. Like it'd be
Yeah,
so
yeah,
cool to
yeah.
see that.
I
Yeah,
agree. I mean,
yeah.
co-living as an industry also needs like a influencer that's like super
Mhm.
hyped about co-living. I think that's also
Yes.
missing.
Hmm.
But being an influencer is not really my thing.
Yeah. But you're empowering influencers. You're empowering people that are passionate about this new emerging way of life, which is
Yeah,
co-living. It's very
exactly.
interesting.
I feel like it's like a calling almost. Like to be
Hmm.
honest, I've been making a lot of video content and influencer like actions,
Hmm.
marketing and social media stuff because there's a gap in the market for this, and I feel like if nobody else is gonna step up to do it, I guess I
Hmm.
should.
Yeah. So in 5 years, like if you were to look into a crystal ball today and you were to see the world in 5 years, how would Johnny's co-living community management course have changed the way people um, explore this co-living arrangement?
Yes, so you would be able to go on a website like coliving.com or another one that I've seen, Serendipia, and you can look at listings, and those listings will show you that we have a community manager that's qualified. You know, they have a stamp of approval or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, Along with this course, which is honestly, it's just a stepping stone. The next step would be like a mentorship program or a workshop program that would happen regularly to train community managers.
Hmm.
So the next steps would be these workshops, mentorship programs, and these
Hmm.
marketplace websites where you can get a match with the right co-living space.
Hmm.
And a co-living space, a co-living operator,
Hmm.
they can find a qualified community manager with one of these websites, one of these marketplace websites where they have community managers who are looking for a co-living space to work at. So the matching system would be a lot more seamless.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, you're helping provide the infrastructure and the the people that make the experience so enriching. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm. So, so where are you now in your journey, and what do you need to get to where you're headed?
Yeah, so right now I'm 22 days deep in this 30-day Kickstarter, which means there's only 8 days left.
Mm-hmm.
um, so ideally, I would need more financial support through my
Hmm.
Kickstarter so that I can work with a team. Because ultimately, if you want to push any project forward, you need to be working on a team. And I've done a few projects on my own. I've done a few on a small team.
Hmm.
And something I learned is that doing it on your own, first of all, you're less likely to succeed. It's going to take more time. It's more stressful.
Raising money and starting a business.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I need to raise money and I need to get more exposure.
Okay.
So
So.
chances are when someone sees this, my Kickstarter might be expired. So sharing my video content and sharing my other content would really make a big impact.
You can do
Literally,
that.
if you resonate with it, share it because I mean, co-living is just really good in so many ways to us as humans and even the planet because when you're sharing resources, your carbon footprint is also smaller, and so you're saving the planet. If you want to save the planet, go live at a co-living space.
Use co-living. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I like it. So, um, so how would you describe this like crowdfunding process and journey? Like for the people watching this, a lot of them are interested in crowdfunding. What's your experience been like?
Well, I'll tell you what. This is my third one,
Hmm.
and it's everything is up in the air, really. I mean, crowdfunding in general is just stuff is all over the place.
Yeah.
I was not successful with my first two, and I think I know why.
Hmm.
But you know what they say, third time is a charm. And
Hmm.
this time, what I'm doing differently is I did some research and I took my time to understand the market and where the needs are.
Hmm.
And I took the needs and then I developed a Kickstarter and a course according to those needs. Whereas before, I kind of tried to predict where the market was going, and I tried to, I don't want to say push, but just like
Hmm.
try to convince people that it was
Yes.
a useful thing. But now I'm kind of taking it the other way around.
You're responding to the market demand rather than trying to force a solution onto a problem that people don't identify with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a great way of measuring demand because, I mean, at this conference, this co-living conference that I was at, people kept on saying over and over again that community management training is lacking and there's not enough
Hmm.
resources out there and community managers are not qualified and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm. So you mentioned this aspect of like you would want a team to help you get this thing off the ground. What would your starting lineup look like?
Yeah. So right now, I'm like the main curriculum developer, let's say. But it would be great to have a mentor or something like that to help me develop the best curriculum. Although this is my third course, having someone guide me in that process would help a lot. So a
So having a
mentor,
strategic advisor or consultant.
yeah, advisor or a mentor,
Yeah, mentor.
and someone to help me do the marketing. I mean,
Marketing.
yeah, marketing, I can do it, but that's not my area of expertise.
Hmm.
So I need a mentor, I need marketing expert, and I need a video producer, let's say, an editor, and
Hmm.
someone that's going to help me make really nice,
Hmm.
engaging, and just
Hmm.
good quality videos that people
Hmm.
will watch.
So in your case, this is somebody to help you build the product. So like a technically skilled person, but instead of like a website or an app or something, your product is video. So you need a product person, a marketing person, and a an advisor or a mentor to help you kind of, you know, get get calibrated on the business side of things.
Exactly. Like I
Yeah.
said, like a team is really going to take this forward, and I'm willing to put the time and effort into it, but a team is going to take it to the next level.
Hmm. I believe it. Yeah. So, okay. So our big ask, you've mentioned you've got a crowdfunding campaign. It closes in how many days?
8 days.
8 days. So hopefully you guys can back Johnny and get this co-living community management course into the hands as many people as possible. Johnny, where can our listeners find you online?
Yeah, so you can find me on co-livingcommunitymanagement.com over there.
Mhm.
Uh, and on there, you can sign up for my newsletter and you can stay up to date with this project because
Mhm.
even if this Kickstarter doesn't get funded, chances are I'm going to continue working in co-living.
Right.
It's like my calling. And
Mhm.
after having experienced this before, I feel like I'm obligated to give this to other people in a way.
Yes. Love it,
Like
man.
I'm preaching the word of co-living.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna try and help you evangelize, man. I call myself the chief evangelist of Fish Tank, so I'm gonna try
Yeah,
and
nice.
I'll be a mercenary preacher for co-living community management.
Nice. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. All right. Thanks, Johnny.
All right. Thanks, Jesse. Glad to be here. Hello and welcome. I am raising funds to create an online course on co-living community management. What makes this course stand out is that I am building on the concept of community management and focusing precisely on how it applies to the co-living industry. This industry is still very much in the early adopter stage, and chances are not many people are qualified to pass down knowledge on how to apply co-living within community management. I created and ran my very own co-living space. For the 2.5 years that I had the business, it was very successful. My skills as a community manager took the success in that business to another level, and only by looking back now can I attribute these skills to the success of that business. If you want to take your co-living business to the next level, or learn to apply your community management skills in co-living, then this course will help you. Who is this course for? Co-living spaces and experienced community managers who want to specialize in co-living. When COVID hit, the world went into lockdown. Even today, lockdowns are still happening more than 2 years later. Co-living offers community as a solution to isolation. Here's how it works. A community manager participates in the course and graduates into an apprenticeship group. This apprenticeship group will help connect a qualified co-living host with a co-living space so that they can get some hands-on experience. The funds from this Kickstarter will be used as the budget to pay for our 3 biggest expenses: content creation, marketing, and video production.
Hi there, my name is Miguel Costa. I'm co-founder of 2 businesses in the remote workspace. I've been involved with small co-livings, big co-livings. It is completely essential for its success to have a good and healthy community. And a good and healthy community does not happen without a central entity, a community manager. And with the growth of the remote work world, there is a clear need of good and more community managers.
So if you have a co-living, you need community management.
Support my project right now.